Welcome back to another episode of Wild Sports. I'm Fu. Got Sean.
This is going to be a fun one.
We got Bama versus Georgia.
We knew it was coming.
We knew it was coming. The week we've all been waiting on. SEC Championship Week in Atlanta. 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. Last CBS game for the SEC.
Pretty wild to think, actually.
It is. It's a... I think the only part of it I'm going to miss is the intro.
Yeah.
That's about
Definitely.
it.
Definitely. Some nostalgia.
Yeah, so it's the big one. It's one we've seen multiple times in all different situations. SEC championships, national championships, regular season games, always a big one. Georgia right now, I see the spread at 5.5. I think it's been anywhere between 5. It got all the way up to 6.5, I think, at one point.
Yeah, it opened at 4.
Yeah.
It's sitting at 5.5, like you said.
So, yeah, I mean...
It also, the over-under opened at 49.5, and that's gone up 5 points.
Oh, wow. That's a big
so we're
jump.
at 54.5 on the over-under right now.
Okay. So, both teams coming off... obviously, ours a
Rough
little
outings.
more, a little more heart pounding than y'all's. Y'all's still a one possession game, but y'all controlled yours a little better. But
yeah,
we had to come off a miracle.
Not many Bama fans say that, so kudos to you.
The nightmare in Jordan Hare is what I'm hearing it's called. So coming off, big rivalry weeks. What are you seeing as some keys to this game? What do you think Georgia has to do? What does Georgia have to do to win the game?
That's probably a better option or a better idea.
Yeah, what does Georgia got to do?
I think that they have they've gone to a spy too late in some of these most recent games. The game against Missouri, the game against Ole Miss. The game against Tech. We let these guys get big runs for big first downs a couple of times before we said, you know what, finally, let's get a spy on them, so on and so forth. And sometimes Kirby, I don't know if he did this at Bama, sometimes Kirby just says the best spy is to just continue to pressure him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I always think a spy is a better option, especially with an athlete like Jalen. I'd much prefer a spy than to try and pressure him. But I'd say keep Jalen in the pocket. Obviously, he's going to get outside the pocket. That's okay. Contain him. Make him make throws. Make him make big-time throws. I know he can do it. I've seen him do it. He has, and we'll touch on this in a future video, but him from week 2 against, was it week 2, Texas?
Mm-hmm.
To December, whatever day?
3rd?
4th, whatever day it is. Night and day QBs.
Yeah.
And all the not so smart Georgia fans that just keep referring to that one game against Texas and how not good y'all looked, that's not even close to the same team. Not even close to the same team. The ones that say, look how they played against Auburn, look how they played against all these other teams, that's those games.
Yeah.
That's not December 3rd. You can take every stat in the book from both teams and throw that out the door, because once that clock starts rolling on Saturday, no stat matters. Nothing matters. The game matters. The players in that game matter. Everything that day matters. So we just got to control what we can control on that day. I'd say the biggest key is to contain Jalen. Biggest key offensively is to get the running game going. Beck's been amazing, but the best friend of a quarterback is a good running game. I'd say get the running game going. I love Kendall Milton. I love what he's been able to do so far this season, especially late in the season. Kendall Milton's the type of running back that Bama swallows. Dejan might have to be the guy this game.
Yeah, I mean, you and I both watched. I mean, Sean came into town this last week, and yeah, we were talking about Kendall Milton, he glides. He reminds me a lot of a Derrick Henry, Bijan Robinson, just from my standpoint, from who I've watched a lot. Brian Robinson, sorry. Just glides, got good, kind of that sneaky speed. But yeah, the points you hit on, I think, are key. I put some notes in here for UGA. I think my number one key for them is to establish the run. I think you've got to do that in this game. I think that's the ultimate key to this game, and I've got a stat later on that I'll get to. Same thing, can you pressure Milroe? But, can you pressure him with keeping him contained? Because you can send all the pressure you want, but if you let him sneak out,
it's worthless.
He's gotten a lot better at not only sneaking out, but keeping his eyes downfield and making the big plays downfield while being pressured. And I think it's going to be interesting. I think a big thing is, with Ladd and Brock sitting out last week, to have them possibly both on the field at the same time healthy, which I don't think Georgia has got to see a lot of this year, or anybody has. So I think that's going to be a key. Those are the keys for them. Keys for Alabama that I marked, I think number one is to pressure Beck. We've talked about it multiple times in all the Georgia videos this year. I've been very high on Beck. Even before he was the starter, I think he's just a really solid quarterback, makes good decisions, and I think he can, pick you apart if you let him sit back there. I think Alabama has the edge rushers to get there. Dallas Turner being probably one of the best in the nation. He's got to get home, and I think the other key is slowing down that run. Georgia's the type offense that can, with that big offensive line they have with a lot of experience, they can just slowly chunk you to death and just start leaning on you. And, you and I both know, and everybody knows that watch football, like how a football game like that can be when a team's just chunking you to death in the run game, hitting pass plays at it. It takes its toll, and it can really get out of hand later in the game. So I think you got to slow down the run, and then we got to protect Milroe. I think this offensive line of Alabama has gotten a lot better. We've been, we're young. Left tackle's a true freshman. I think he's gotten a lot better. Caden Proctor. I think if you can give him time, protect him, allow him to extend plays, he's, like you said, he's a completely different quarterback from the beginning of the year. Going into games now, I'm excited about Milroe, where before I was just like, please don't make the mistake. I know he'll still make some mistakes, and it can happen in a game against a defense. I don't think Alabama's seen a defense like Georgia this year. Maybe Texas is somewhere in that realm. They've got a lot of studs too, but but I've been very impressed with the confidence and the poise of Milroe's progression throughout the year. And I think we might be missing Chase McClellan, our starting running back.
I don't know.
Yeah, I noticed it at the end of the Iron Bowl. I was just kind of too excited to really pay attention, but he was going off the field in crutches and a boot. He's had a foot injury supposedly all year. He's aggravated it. Saban's come out and said he's day-to-day for the next 48 hours. The prototypical thing, but anytime the running back's dealing with a foot injury, he's not going to be 100% if he does play. So that's going to be a big thing. And then obviously the key to any football game, the turnover battle. I think a game like this can come down to that. It can come down to who makes the turnover when you got to have it, or do you get a couple early and kind of jump out to it. So I think we're in for a good one, though.
I do too. I'm very excited for the game.
Yeah, anytime these two teams get on the field, last time they faced off, Georgia took the national championship. But I mean, it was a tight game until Bryce throws a pick six at the end.
Yeah, no, because I mean, y'all were driving the field to win the game at that point.
Yeah, it would have been to tie it. We'd had to go for two. We were going to.
You were going for two.
Yeah, we would have had to. But I mean, it was a close game. The SEC championship that same year really wasn't a close game, but
nope.
You know, we've seen some classics, obviously. So I think anytime these two, and I mean, what a great matchup too. You know, I love the respect out of Kirby and Coach Saban this week. Both of them just high praises of each other. Obviously, two coaches that know each other very, very well.
Very similar.
Yeah.
The two QBs, very similar stories in them as well, replacing legendary QBs of their own.
Yeah.
You know, Stetson was a legend at Georgia. Bryce Young was the number one overall pick. That's a legend in my eyes.
Oh, yeah. Two national champs. Yeah, I mean, so I wanted to go back into this. So the three times Alabama has played Georgia in the SEC championship, the yards are about the same. I think it was like 480 to 470 or something. It was really close.
Wow.
But the key now Alabama's 3-0 against those games, 36 to 27 points per game average, and the key difference, the only difference I saw in it was Alabama averaged 207 yards rushing a game, and Georgia averaged 125.
Big difference.
So that's kind of leading back to, I think, establishing the run is going to be, because I don't see this being like a shootout. I mean, it always could.
I see the score maybe getting to that point, but not the actual game feeling like it.
Yeah, I don't see. I see it kind of like the Georgia Missouri game. You know, kind of like games like that where some points are being scored, but it's not like Alabama LSU where it was just like back and forth, back and forth. I think some defense is going to be played. Oof, they're tough to sit through. It's like watching a tennis match. Who's going to break serve? But I mean, man, I'm excited.
I want to give Alabama some props here on their success in Atlanta. All right, let me just pull this up real quick. So since Bama lost the 2008 SEC championship to who eventually won the national championship, the Gators, they've gone 16-0, 8-0 versus top 10 teams in that 16, 7-0 against top 5 teams. And 12 of those 16 games were won by double digits. So, any idiot Dawg fan that thinks this is just about to be a cakewalk because they almost lost to South Florida, they almost lost to Auburn, whatever you want to say, I'm going to refer back to what I started the video at. All their previous games, all their previous stats does not matter once this game starts. It's going to be a dogfight.
Absolutely.
I'm extremely excited for it. I guess we're on to the predictions.
The biggest prediction of the year.
It's so funny because usually we're both spot on with our own teams. And I
don't even have mine written in yet.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to pick. I don't know what to choose. Video, or not committee, playoff talk video as well, because this game's going to be a huge part of that discussion as well.
What you got, bro?
All right, so December 2nd, 2023, 4 o'clock p.m., Georgia and Alabama. My prediction is going to be 33-27 Dogs.
33-27 Dogs. My prediction is going to be 52-0 Georgia.
And congratulations, by the way.
And congratulations for your win. And we have no chance. And, just enjoy it. No, I'm gonna go 30-27 Bama.
All right.
So we're pretty close. Just got it switched around.
Yeah. We're on the money.
Oh, and Will Reichard. This would be cool. And chances are, hopefully, God, I hope so. He's 3 points away from breaking the all-time scoring record in college football.
Do we know who holds that right now?
I think it's the quarterback from Navy.
It is because I
think, if I'm not mistaken.
Because he had all those rushing touchdowns as the QB.
Yeah, so, I mean, a kind of a record that they really didn't see ever being broken. I didn't realize it was that big of a record that they really didn't, because I guess he's been there this is his 5th year. I think he did an extra run, like a graduate and a coach. Yeah, so I think he did an extra round. So it's like not something that he's been kicking since he was a freshman. So I think it's a record they really didn't see ever being broken, which I didn't know anything about that. But so good thing. I mean, hopefully he does. For some reason, I hope he gets 3 points.
In both of our scenarios, he's getting 3. So,
well, if he doesn't get 3 points, it's going to be an ugly Saturday for Tuscaloosa for the Bama fans. Unless we just beat y'all like 14-0 or something like that.
I can see it.
No way.
You could tell me any total, and I'd be like,
I know. I'm with you, dude. I can see it. Like we've talked about it. Like there's like, the 2021, I guess, year. Never ever would. It was like the same situation. Kind of y'all were favored by I think 5 or 6, and we went in there and boat raced you. And I never ever would have get. Like I honestly thought that game. Like I went into it like I don't think we can run with Georgia in this game.
I still think that's our best team ever.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, arguably all around one of the best teams ever. And we, just put together that game. So, anything can happen. I mean, it could be 35-14 Georgia. It could be 35-14 Alabama. It could be 31-30. It could be 17-14. I don't know. It can be anything. I'm excited.
It's going to be 33-27.
Alabama.
Dogs.
Alabama. I'll take it. I'll be off by 3. I'm okay with that.
Okay, here.
Oh, all right. Well, y'all let us know what your prediction is. Who's going to win it? Y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let us know. Roll Tide. Till next week, we'll talk about who wins. What do you want to bet? Steak dinner?
We can do that. Heck
I
yeah.
get 5.5 though. What, dude? I get the spread.
I'll give you 1.5.
Deal. Steaks on the line. Roll Tide.